Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a look into a pretty key part of Poland's security apparatus, the Military Counterintelligence Service, the SKW.
That's right.
We've got this document, kind of a foundational source, laying out its main purpose, how it started. So let's, get into what the SKW is all about.
Exactly. The mission here is basically to unpack this source and get a solid handle on the SKW essentials, what it does, its origins, and its place in Poland's security setup.
Okay, so right off the bat, the document calls the SKW one of Poland's principal intelligence agencies. That word principal, it definitely flags it as important. What's that telling us?
Yeah, good point. Principal suggests it's, a leading agency, a primary one, not just some minor player, but right up there in importance for national security.
Mm.
And the document then gets more specific about its actual duties.
Right, and they are pretty specific. It says protecting Poland from internal threats
Mm-hmm.
and keeping the Polish armed forces ready, safeguarding their combat capabilities. So it's looking inwards and also at military strength.
Precisely. That dual focus is quite interesting. It means the SKW isn't just chasing foreign spies, theoretically. It's also zeroed in on threats within Poland that could, hurt the military or the country's overall security.
Okay, let's talk about how it was set up. The document's clear. An act in June 2006. And, crucially, it reports to the Ministry of National Defense. What's the significance of reporting directly there?
Well, being subordinate to the Ministry of National Defense, that really underscores its connection to the military. It suggests a very direct focus on, let's say, military counterintelligence, making sure its goals line up with the defense establishment's needs. And the official start date was October 1st, 2006.
And here's where the timing gets, well, really interesting, like you said. Our source points out that founding, October 1st, happened just one day before the Military Information Services, the WSI, was dissolved, October 2nd. That feels deliberate.
Oh, absolutely. That close timing, it's hard to ignore. It strongly suggests the SKW was basically created to replace the WSI, or at least signaled a huge shakeup in military intelligence. It wasn't just some new agency popping up randomly. Seems like a very conscious move to reform things. You might guess there were specific issues with the WSI that prompted creating the SKW with this particular focus.
The document also gives us the name of the first head, Antoni Macierewicz.
Right.
Puts a name to the early leadership anyway.
Yeah, knowing the first leader is useful gives you a historical reference point. The document doesn't really go into his time there, but it's, part of the story of how the SKW started out and the direction it might have taken initially.
There's also this mention of the SKW getting its standard, June 22, 2012. For listeners maybe not familiar with military stuff, what's the big deal about receiving a standard?
Yeah, the standard. It's actually a really significant symbolic event for organizations like this, military or security services. It's like a formal badge of honor. It recognizes the agency's existence, its values, its commitment. It builds that sense of identity, unit cohesion, history.
Makes sense. Now, if you want to look up the SKW directly, the source gives the website www.skw.gov.pl.
Yep, that's their official online presence. Official sites can be, well, pretty useful for seeing how an agency presents itself, its mission, maybe some activities, though obviously intelligence agencies aren't usually putting everything out there.
Understandably. The document also points to the legal basis, an announcement from the Marshal of the Sej, March 20, 2019. This published the consolidated text of the Act on the SKW and the Military Intelligence Service. What exactly is a consolidated text?
Good question. A consolidated text is basically the up-to-date version of a law. It takes the original act and rolls in all the changes, all the amendments made over time into one single document. Much easier to read. So this 2019 announcement gives you the current, complete legal rulebook for the SKW, its powers, duties, how it works. It's the bedrock legal authority.
Okay, and one last reference point. A 2011 regulation about coordinating special services. It mentions Jace Kachocki, who was Minister of Interior Affairs then. How does that fit in if the SKW reports to the Defense Ministry?
That highlights that even though the SKW answers to defense, it doesn't operate in a vacuum. It's part of a bigger network of Polish intelligence and security services. That 2011 regulation was likely about setting up ways for these different agencies, interior, defense, others, to talk to each other, share info, coordinate efforts, make sure everyone's working together on national security, avoid stepping on toes or leaving gaps.
Right, coordination is key. Okay, we've covered quite a bit from the source document. If we were to sum it up, what are the main takeaways about the SKW?
Well, we've established it's a major Polish intelligence player. Its core job is twofold: tackling internal threats and ensuring the military is ready and protected. It came into being October 1st, 2006, right as the old WSI was dissolved. It works under the Ministry of National Defense. Its legal powers are laid out in that Consolidated Act from 2019, and it coordinates with other Polish services.
So, considering that specific focus internal threats, military protection, it does make you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What kind of evolving challenges, what new priorities might an agency like the SKW be grappling with in today's, well, pretty complex geopolitical situation?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.